Well, greetings everyone. We're back. I'm back in the shop today. My daughter brought her car over. Was making some weird noise when she started it up, and seemed to make a difference in the tone of it when the AC was running. So I started checking into it and got me a new belt and a new tensioner and started taking it apart to change it. So I was checking all the bearings and the water pump, alternator and power steering pump and so forth like that. And well, I went to turn the compressor, and the compressor bearing is bad. So I actually started on this earlier this morning and started taking it apart, but belt does need to be replaced. You can see how narrow those ribs are, and it's starting to tear up. I went ahead and I'm going to change the tensioners also, because it's a kind of a thing you should do when you're changing the belt. The tensioner lasts about the life of the belt. At any rate, so I got the compressor down here and put it on a block underneath the car. So that I could work on it. Let me get my gloves on here. I'm gonna try to take that nut loose. Put you down here on the mount for a moment. All right, well, let's get down underneath here. Pretty simple mount. You just unplug it and take 3 bolts loose and drop it down. Didn't want to drop it too far down, and well, it'll go to the floor. Found that out the hard way, but at any rate, didn't want to put too much tension on them hoses. This is a 99, so didn't want to do too much. But now the clutch shoe here turns fine, so the compressor's turning fine, but you turn that bearing pulley and it is tight. It's taken quite a bit to turn that, and it should freewheel. Any rate, there's a nut in here, and then this uses a special puller that I found out I can rent at a local parts store to pull that out. But first we gotta see if we can get this nut off. Now I sprayed this with blaster, some PP blaster, just to kind of free it up. I'm gonna have to clean the threads, that fine thread there, for the, probably can't see it too well, but that's a real fine thread right there. So let's see if we can get it broke loose here, at least get it off. Well, the nut's off. So I'll clean that up and then go rent the tools to pull this off, and then there should be a clip that holds the bearing on the snout of the compressor. This is a V5 compressor, AC Delco. The AC tools I've got are for old R4 and A6 compressors, so they won't fit in this. Because that's in the 90s is when I started working on trucks instead of cars. I was working on cars. Well, I was actually working on both cars and trucks up until the 90s. But at any rate, well, I'm back again. I don't know. We're gonna have to see which one of these tools fits and kind of go from there. But we'll see here. Looks like that's the one that screws in the hub. And all right. Well, we will see if we can get this apart here, folks. Turn that to where you can maybe see what's going on. I'm hoping. Doesn't look like I'll be able to get the parts today. If it's the bearing or the clutch, I'll have to order them. Because nobody's got them. I cleaned them threads out with a wire brush so that it would pull. So we'll see. Shouldn't really take a lot to get this shoe off. Well, I say that. Well, I might be wrong. Maybe taking a little bit more than I thought. And let's see. Just ain't putting enough oomph on it, I guess. So, the worst case scenario, I got to replace the whole compressor, which don't really want to do that because that's quite a bit more expensive than doing a bearing. At any rate, so what we'll do is get it around here where we can get some leverage on it and see if that'll help. Sound like something popped. And we're getting somewhere. I can see the shoe coming off. I don't know if you can see the gap getting bigger, but that's a good sign. When the gap's getting bigger, this out here is the shoe. Outside part is the shoe. What happens is there's a coil right here that you plug into, and when 12 volts is applied, it pulls this shoe. If you notice, it flexes and pulls it against this here and drives the compressor. Because this is, when the compressor is not engaged, this just freewheels. The shoe is actually attached to the compressor shaft, and that's when this shoe engages with this wheel, that's when it starts turning the compressor. I think I should have used my ratchet wrench. But I figured once it broke loose, it'd just come right on out. But looks like I'm gonna have to take it all the way out the hard way. But we'll see. Yeah, it's getting a lot easier, so we must be getting somewhere. How about that? There is the shoe. Which there's some wear on the shoe, don't get me wrong, but there ain't that much. You can see there in the picture there. Ain't that bad. Now, set that aside. Really didn't want to change the shoe because the gap was good. I mean, we're less than 15 thousandths, so. But now you can see, if I turn this around here a little bit, this snap ring right here has got to come out, and then this should come off. Yeah. The big thing is, should come off. May have to. Well, there's a little more wear in that shoe than I thought, or in the drive plate. But not terrible. Well, let me get a pair of snap ring pliers and we'll see what we got to do. I'm going to put these tools back up for now, so I don't get them, because this is a rental tool that I just rented instead of buying them. Really not doing this for a living anymore, so I'm not in the market for a bunch of additional tools that appears, because I'm not sure which one I'm going to be able to use. But let's see here. Well, as you can see, one side come out all right, the other side is still stuck. So we'll have to kind of work it. And now it's off. So now, that being said, yeah, well, as you can see, it didn't just come falling off. I really didn't figure it would, but I can always hope for the best. So now, got to see if I can pop that loose somehow. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a big puller would pull it off, but let's make sure that that groove behind theirs is nothing in it. Well, I guess we'll grab a well, I don't know if I should try to use a puller on that thing or not. Because this is aluminum housing. Well, I'll try tapping her with a hammer and see if she starts sliding off. We can well, I know this is a little overkill because I'm just barely going to tap it, but I can't tell if it's coming down or not. Appears to be. Here's something's happening. Well, it was for a while anyway. Well, it's not going to come off without a fight. So, I guess I'll shut you off for now until I figure out what I'm going to do here. Well, folks, as you can see here, I got it off, having to use my 3-jaw puller in a socket to fit the snout of the compressor so as not to damage it. But now I've got another predicament. The seal for the inner part of the bearing is still in there. And this here bearing, you can see it, there's a seal like there is on the outside here, inside there, that goes around there and seals that bearing. Well, that seal is let go, and that's probably why the bearing left us. But any rate, after looking at this clutch shoe, they've stamped that bearing in that shoe. If you look, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but inside here, it's stamped little tits around there, or things that go around there and help hold that bearing in. Around the snout, it should only be an interference pit, so I shouldn't have had to use a puller to get that off. But since that bearing failed, it doesn't look like it spun on the snout. It just with time just kind of seated itself to it. So looks like I'll be getting a clutch assembly for this. Now, I used this on the snout so that I was pressing on the snout. At first I was trying to do it on this, and I didn't want to put too much pressure because that's the main shaft for the compressor, and it wasn't coming without, and I said, well, I'm not going to put too much pressure on that shaft, so I put that on there, and then I hammered this 3-jaw OTC puller down, and it started pulling it off. But now the new clutch assembly comes with this new coil, and the older compressors, they actually had a used to run a snap ring on the thing, but with that seal in the way, I can't tell. Got to get that seal out of there, the inner part of the seal. Don't seem to be no snap ring in there. Well, I thought it was going to come apart, but, well, nope. It's not going to be an easy one. And, darn it. But, at any rate, I got to figure out how to get that coil off there. Well, folks, I'm back. Okay, figured out how this comes off. It's just a interference vent like the bearing should have been. So once I broke the adhesion of the stuff here, that's basically just caramelized oil or whatever, it popped off using I couldn't get a, you can see there's a little bit of starting to corrode there. That's why it wouldn't I mean, it's just an interference fit, so it didn't take much, but had to pry on the housing bolts with a little bit of pressure back and forth and rock it off. Oh, sorry, wasn't showing it there. I thought it was. At any rate, so this goes on here like that, so I'll have to take some cleaner and clean all this up, because it'll make it a whole lot easier putting it back together. And this was clocked like right there, so you can see that I kind of marked it with my finger. I guess I'll mark it here with a little bit better to show where the coil goes. At any rate, that's what she is. She's now apart, and I will go in there and order the parts that I need to put this back together, and we'll get her back together. In an effort to, the compressors or assemblies are over close to $300, and by the time you buy the R134 and try to recover it and all that stuff, I really didn't want to break into the system because the AC was working. Just noisy, the bearing being bad, and this bearing in here is what failed. It's supposed to turn in there pretty easy, and I'm having trouble turning it. But as you can see, there's no evidence on the snout or on this that it actually locked up and spun on the snout. So, which is good. That means that I can get by with a new clutch and so forth. So, and I can get that all for just a little over $100. I was hoping just to get the bearing. That's only $41. The problem of it is, with it stamped in there like that, if I cut all those stamps out, I can't reduplicate that factory stamp. Plus the fact that there are a lot of stamps there to try to cut out, and this shoe is already, as you can see, there's wear marks in it here. This shoe, this pulley, where the shoe makes contact with it, as you can see. This is actually supposed to be the wear part, but it's gotten into this, and there's a little bit of a groove. So just as well, I got it apart, repair it properly. So, all right, well,
I'm gonna put you down and put you on hold until tomorrow when I can get some more parts, and then we'll start the reassembly. I'll spray this down, kind of go from there. It's been an endeavor. It's been challenging, and as Vice Grip Garage says, I'll be dipped. Well, I think I'm more than dipped. At any rate, like I said, my background is actually heavy truck, so big truck, heavy equipment. And this is I haven't done automotive regularly since the 80s. So when in this area garage, I used to make some money on the side when I worked at an auto parts store. So at any rate, well, greetings everyone, this is Larry again, back on the Lumina after the excursion yesterday over to the Mid-America thrashing show. We got the clutch in, Four Seasons clutch. Actually got it yesterday, but like I said, I decided that I would go over to the thrashing show. I hadn't been there for a long while. So what we got to do is finish cleaning up that snout down there where the clutch goes on, and then we got to kind of press that clutch on. It's just it's supposed to be an interference fit, but well, you saw how much trouble I had getting them off. So at any rate, we'll get to it here. Now you'll remember the other day I marked right there where the plug goes for the it's got to be back all the way to where it's seated. And like I said, as an interference fit, it shouldn't take too much effort to drive it on. But Got a seed a little bit on this side. Kind of looks like it might be back all the way. Looks like she's seated on there now. Any burrs that might be it'd be a whole lot easier if I could mount a compressor, but there's not room to do all this compressor work where it mounts because of the fender well. So we got to do what we can do. Got to do what we can do. It's slowly going on. Getting back there. Can't tell if that's no, gotta go back just a little bit further. Just a little bit further. Yep. A little bit more. Well, I hope you can see all this. I think I'm moving the camera. But let's see if we can get the snap ring on. So I go back further. All right, it's locked in. Now, this is the shoe. And we use this tool supposedly to put it on with. And you basically it's supposed to screw onto the shaft like this. Which, I'm sorry, but that don't seem to be fitting that right. Well, mainly because it's the wrong thread. All right. That's the right thread. Now, if you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but this is keyed right here. And this has got a slot in it for that key. So the first thing we got to do is make sure we're lined up on that key. And then screw this down as far as we can on the shaft. Make sure that bearing's on the wrong place. Gotta get the tools figured out, folks. Gotta figure out the tools first. Just because they're in a box a certain way doesn't mean that's the way they actually go. So that's down tight, and then you screw this down against the shoe to start bringing it on. So you actually hold this nut. Well, for some reason it stopped recording. Well, folks, I'm not sure why it got hot, but the GoPro got hot and stopped recording. At any rate, as you can see, I got the clutch shoe on and the nut in it. Spins freely, compressor spins, and so now it's just a matter of fishing it back up in there and bolting it on, which I don't think I'll cover that, because it goes back in there. Party. All right, well, got a new belt and tensioner for it that I'll be installing. Got a Napa belt by Gates, so it's a good one, and a new tensioner. So as you can see how sharp those ribs are compared to how wide those ribs are. That belt was wore out. These are EDPM, I think, belts, which is long wearing belts. But at any rate, well, folks, I'm not sure why the camera heated up so much. It's warm, yeah, it's in the 80s, but it's not that bad. But at any rate, I got some of the tools picked up out of my way so I can slide in and out of there. So now the big thing is getting that compressor remounted. I'll bring you back when I get the compressor all remounted and all the belt ran and tensioner, and we'll start it up here together and see how she works out. Thanks for watching. Well, folks, you can see I'm back. All right, we got the new belt, new clutch assembly for the AC, and new tensioner all mounted. Just making sure the belt's in the grooves properly. Looks like everything is. Now we'll start it up here and check the AC, see how it's doing. Let me get my AC thermometer here. As soon as alright. Oh, there it is. Right there on top. How about that? Alright, well, we'll go around here and put it in, start it up and put it in the AC duct there toward the center with it on max AC. But I guess first we ought to start it up here and make sure there's no noise. Oh no. No noise. Well, the AC's already on. Alright, let's
let's see, turn it to max AC. Supposed to let it run for 5 minutes. And pretty noisy fan though. It's 80, about 85 degrees outside. It's humid. We're supposed to have rain here later. So I'm expecting anywhere around 50 degrees. Outlet temperature would be fine. She's got hanging from her. Well, it's already down to about 45. I don't know if I can handle that fan though. I'll turn her down a little bit here, and that's at idle. She's definitely cool. Not even on high, and she's darn near to 40 degrees. She's a cold one. Don't hear any noise from the motor or the AC clutch. Oh dude, she's hit 40. That's some cold air coming out of there. And that's not even with the fan on high. She's holding right at 40. Sounds like it's cycling. Means the clutch shoes, the coil is releasing the clutch shoe. So let's go out here and take a look. See, the fans are turning.
like I said, about $300, and in this particular case, a little cost prohibitive. Because you gotta figure that you gotta reclaim the refrigerant that's in there, which it had a full charge. You can tell by how cold it is. The air coming out of them ducts is. And that the compressor clutch is not just cycling on and off, on and off. That's normally an indication that the refrigerant is low. So the temperature is about 40 degrees, which is good for this humidity and this temperature outside. Nice new Gates belt, new tensioner, quiet. Tensioner's not sitting there and just jumping badly. So I'd say we're good. All right. Well, till the next video, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment if you would like. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.